Hello and welcome to Morning Trade with Money Control. I'm Nandita Khemka and I'm here to help you navigate the trading day with actionable trading strategies, sectoral trends and most importantly your queries during the course of the show. So keep commenting on the live feed and we will have them addressed by our expert on the show. But before bringing him on board, let's take a look at what the global handover is looking like this morning. Well, it's a mixed close on Wall Street with the Dow Jones closing flat and the Nasdaq snapping its three-day gaining streak to lose up to 2%. Facebook parent Meta slumps as much as 18% in extended trade after earnings and guidance disappoint. It's a mixed start for stocks in the Asia-Pacific region as well as investors take stock of economic data as well as earnings. Bank of Japan begins its two-day policy meet today. The SGX Nifty, meanwhile, signals a higher start for the Nifty. European markets hit a 5-week high amid a slew of corporate earnings and ahead of a key ECB meeting. The European Central Bank is widely expected to raise rates by another 75 basis points. And markets will also be watching out for clues on its path towards quantitative tightening as the EU heads for a likely recession. Also on the show today, we'll take stock of the Pharma pack as the big Pharma is slated to report second quarter earnings. And stocks in the spotlight today are Hero Moto, Dabur as well as Century Textiles. Well, let's now bring on board our guest for today, Hemen Kapadia of KR Choksi Securities joins in. Good morning, Hemen. First of all, wish you a very happy Diwali and a very happy New Year for the new Samvat.
A very good morning to you, Nandita. Thank you for having me. And yes, wish you, the entire team at Money Control and our viewers a very, very happy and a prosperous New Year.
All right, Hemen, we saw the Nifty snap a 7-day winning streak as the profit booking set in after a pre-Diwali cheer. Do you expect the weakness to continue today because the SGX Nifty is giving out positive signals? So, or do you expect this to be a buy on dip market?
Well, I'll break up the answer in two parts, Nandita. I expect the Nifty to cool off a bit. Yes, SGX is showing a positive start, but I believe at higher level we could be facing some sort of resistance. And see, the thing is, we've come off significantly from the lows of 16,747 to a high of 17,811, and so we've actually been almost 1,000 points. So, one, the markets are a bit overbought in the near term. They look just a wee bit stretched. 17,800 traditionally and 18,100, two levels where we've seen significant resistance come in the past. And if you see our last trading session, we've gone to 17,811 and we've cooled off a bit. So yes, I think we need a small sort of a correction. We need in the sense, I believe the market is setting up for a bigger move. So a cool off would make it only a more healthy. And a very interesting thing you pointed out, Nandita, that the European markets were up. I think France and Germany both seem to have posted medium-term bottoms and look set for a intermediate uptrend. So overall, the setup is fine, except the currencies. Everything else seems to be sanguine. Nandita.
Right, Hemen, hold that thought. We'll come back to you and speak to you about specific stocks. But before that, let me also bring on board Purvi Shah, who's the Deputy Vice President at Kotak Securities, to discuss expectations from Pharma Q2 earnings. Good morning, Purvi. Wish you a very happy New Year as well as a very happy Diwali.
Good morning, Nandita. On behalf of Kotak Securities, I'd like to wish all the viewers as well as the Money Control family a very happy New Year and a prosperous summer ahead.
Right. Let me begin by asking you, what are your expectations from the Pharma pack this time around? Do you see strength in the domestic business to aid quarterly performance?
Yes, as you put rightly, Nandita. So the domestic growth, we're expecting around 10 to 12%. That's basically on account of lower COVID base. Also, INR depreciation is going to help, and the demand, as we know, has been quite strong in the domestic markets. So domestic, of course, will do well. On the global markets in the US and emerging markets, I think so there is some sluggishness, as well as we look forward to the management commentary as the results are getting announced, because that will be something that will give direction to each of the stocks.
Right. Let's also talk about the US business. Do you expect that segment to remain subdued in light of price erosion in America?
Yes, Anita, because see, we've not had too many big launches in the quarter two. Only one big launch was Revlimid, which was also hardly for 15 to 20 days. So we expect that, the US business will witness more margin pressure and is likely to remain sluggish. But H2 onwards, there are a couple of companies who have good product lined up. So maybe that will, give us stock-specific movement, basically.
Right. If you look at the earnings that have come in so far, Granules India saw an 80% jump in profit thanks to a surge in paracetamol sales. And when you look at Gland Pharma, well, that reported a 20% slump in profit. Even Laurus Labs, for that matter, it came under intense selling pressure after its first quarter earnings, in fact, second quarter earnings, missed expectations. What are your views on these companies?
So on Gland and Laurus, I'd like to comment. Those granules we don't track, so I'll refrain from that. Gland, yes, of course, the numbers were below our expectations. So here we have a reduced rating and we have a fair value of 1975. We feel that there's a lot of uncertainty. That is why the management has also refrained from giving guidance. So earlier they had given 15-20% of growth guidance, which they have withdrawn. Similar is the story with Laurus as well, where we have a reduced rating. Again, the management has, lowered their guidance from, $1 billion, which they wanted to achieve. But it seems there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to raw material pricing, freight costs. All these, are creating pressure. So, of course, we need to be a little careful. I think so we'll get good entry levels going forward for this stocks.
Right, good entry levels in these stocks going forward. When it comes to regulatory overhang, US FDA woes persist for some of these pharma giants. In fact, Glenmark has recently received an import alert for its Buddy unit, and when you look at Lupin, that got 17 observations for its Pune unit. Do you expect this regulatory overhang to continue for some of these pharma companies?
Nandita, if we see, apart from these two, recently, Cipla Oro also had been inspected, but they've not been getting too many observations. So it's not that they are getting stringent, but I would say that if the compliance on Indian companies' part is taken care of, there are companies who have shown that it's they also, in fact, Alembic was the recent one which has got a zero observation. So I wouldn't say it's stringent, but yes, if you keep the compliance part in check, it's easier to sell.
Right. Puri, now that COVID opportunities are fading with a drop in demand for vaccines, what would be the key growth drivers for pharma companies going forward?
So on domestic front, we feel that the branded, products are doing quite well. Also, there's a lot of awareness. There's the acute season has been quite good. So Q2 and Q3 usually are the strongest season for most of the pharma companies because, Q1, Q2 have rainy season and winter setting in India, and in Q2 and Q3, it's in the US, the winter sets in. So these are all strong quarters, Q2 and Q3. So the demand is likely to be there. That's not the worry. The concern remains that in US, you need to have consistently new launches to mitigate the pricing pressure. As far as domestic is concerned, I think so we are sorted in terms of growth as well as the oncology part. We feel that, the growth is coming back since it was affected by COVID. So the, main parameters are all set. So I don't think so there's a issue going forward.
Puri, what's your view on the big three, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, as well as Sun Pharma? What are your expectations from their quarterly performance? Anything in particular to watch out for?
Yes, so Cipla and Sun are our top picks in the space. And Cipla, we have a buy rating with a fair value of 1,215. We look forward to their quarter two earnings, which, of course, are likely to be a little flattish on the bottom line front. We're looking forward to the commentary from the management because they have planned two big launches in H2. So one is generic Advair, which is scheduled to be launched in Q3, and generic Abraxane in Q4. So any hint on this could take the stock in the new trajectory. When it comes to Sun Pharma, of course, for the last 2-3 quarters, we've been seeing very strong performance, and the products, their specialty pipeline has started seeing traction, and the momentum has been picking up. So this is likely to continue with newer the products getting launched into newer geographies as well. So that's why we are positive on that stock as well. Dr. Reddy's also, we have a ad rating and we're positive on the stock, but we feel that on the US front, a couple of their launches are still facing hurdles on account of the FDA regulatory hurdles. But I guess one can have a look at it as well. But Cipla and Sun, of course, are our top picks and top bets.
Cipla and Sun Pharma are top bets there. So my last question to you is, do you see a scope for re-rating for any of these stocks in the pharma pack?
It's going to be very selective, Nandita, because as of now we feel that the next 6 to 9 months are going to be a little critical in terms of when it comes to raw material pricing as well as freight costs, and there's uncertainty in terms of sourcing also. So if companies have managed and their sourcing is in place, I think so select companies do have the scope of upgrades or re-rating.
Well, thanks a lot for joining in this morning, Purvi, and sharing your expectations with us. We look forward to having you once again on the show later once the pharma pack reports its earnings.
Thanks, Nandita, for having me on the show.
You.
Have a nice day.
Okay, then moving on to Hemen once again. Hemen, let's get in some stock-specific views going. The first stock on my list is Hero Moto Corp. It is set to commence operations in Philippines and has tied up with this firm called Pharma. Do you expect any kind of upside on this stock, given the fact that it has given a 5% kind of up move on a YTD basis, but it has been fairly volatile? What's your view on this one going forward?
If you take a slightly near-term view, Nandita, the support is 2,500. So, okay, that's a very near-term view on the daily chart. So we are stable over here. But yeah, if you want to see an upside, we need a close about 2640. If you take a medium-term view, we are in an established intermediate downtrend, lower tops, lower bottoms. That sequence has not yet ended. Yes, 2,500 is a good support. I expect a bounce. But post the bounce, if it breaks 2,600, it's a problem. If you look at the longer term charts, like you said, it's been volatile, it's gone nowhere. There is no clear trending move, and that situation still hasn't changed. It remains wishy-washy without a clear trend in place.
Wishy-washy, that's the word on Hero Moto Corp. Let's move on to Dabur India. It has acquired a 51% stake in Badshah Masala for over 580 crore rupees. And its Q2 profit was also down somewhere around 3%, so not doing much, hasn't done that well in the second quarter, so to speak. But if you look at the charts, it's been fairly under pressure throughout the year. In fact, on a YTD basis, it's down somewhere around 9%. Do you expect more downside on this stock going forward, Hemen?
We remain in a range between 480 on the downside and 600 on the upside, Nandita. But yes, I think it's very clear, like you pointed out, lower tops, lower bottoms, we remain in a short and medium term downtrend. If I look at the longer term charts, yes, we are corrective after a phenomenal, humongous multi-year up move. So yes, it's tired, it's taking a breather. But I believe that like many FMCG stocks, despite some inherent technical weakness, there is no clear downside, whether even if you look at in the Sun, Unilever, Marico, they look tired, they do correct, but not like a normal stock. So I would say yes, technical weakness, intermediate downtrend, but it doesn't look attractive. But if 480 breaks, that's a cause for concern. If it doesn't, I think it'll remain range.
All right, the next one on my list is Century Textile. It has reported good set of numbers with profits jumping over 118%, and revenues have also grown 20%. On a YTD basis, it's down somewhere around 11%, but do you expect the stock to do well given its second quarter performance?
If I look at the slightly medium term view, it's consolidating. If I take a longer term view, Nandita, the stock moved from 220 to 1020. So frankly speaking, it's tired. Tired is a relative term because 13 months, it's sort of meandering aimlessly, going nowhere. Range is between 680, 1020. So 13 months, we have not seen a trending move. Yes, great numbers like you mentioned, but even now, at least looking at the charts as of today, the trending move seems to be missing. If I talk about levels, 800, 740, 700 are supports. We need a weekly close of about 960 to see a significant upside unfolding. If that happens after 13 months of doing nothing, that would be a potent upside there.
Right. Moving on to Zydus Life. It has got a US FDA approval for a fungal infection drug. If you look at the stock, YTD basis, it's down. But over the last 6 months, it's given a returns to the tune of 20%. Do you expect more upside on this stock going forward?
Yes, Nandita. Looks good. Like you said, it's sort of been underperforming, but now I think it's time to play catch up. We've seen a major reversal come in, and now we are in a short, not short, but in fact a medium term uptrend. So I would say we are at 417 currently. If I had a probably 6 or 9 months view or something, I'd say 20% upside from here. Looks good. Buy on decline, Nandita.
Right, Hemin, before we move on to our query segment, I also want to get in your view on the cement pack. Ultratech, ACC, they've all disappointed with their quarterly show. What's your view on this basket?
Okay, unfortunately, we don't have a cement index, Nandita, that would sort of smoothen things up a bit in terms of analysis. But yeah, absolutely right. They've disappointed, but I think Ultratech is above 6,000. I believe that level would hold. A close above 6,500 could see some sort of an upside coming in. ACC, abysmal numbers, strong support at 2,200, downside limited, deeply oversold. But yes, we need a closing about 2,300. So if I look at a few of the cement pack, I think one, they seem oversold. Not very exciting, but I believe that the downside would be protected, and an unsustainable bounce nevertheless is around the corner.
All right, bounce around the corner. That's the view on the cement pack, particularly Ultratech. Moving on to our query segment, Himen, let's begin with a query on Vedanta. Sanjay Chaudhary has written in and he has bought shares at 293 rupees. He wants to know your view for the long term on the stock.
Looks decent. Metals are currently out of favor, so to speak, if I look at the whole metal pack. But Vedanta standalone looks better. In terms of levels, I'd say 275, 255, 305, 320 as resistance level. I'd say hold. A close above the aforesaid resistance level would see an upside. So doesn't look bad. Standalone, it looks promising in the metal pack.
Vedanta looking promising in the metal pack. Next up is a query on BHEL. Siddharth has written in and he wants your view. Given the fact that we saw an over 7% rally on shares in the last trading session, do you expect it to move further up?
I think so, Nandita. It ended a 13-year downtrend in 2019. And now on the longer term charts, it looks positive. 80 is going to be a roadblock of sorts, but above 80, we should be gradually moving towards 110. So it looks good. Yes, it's a slow moving stock. It has moved from 42 to 72. So I don't expect it to overcome 80 without, creating some hype and hoopla. It will have to pay respects to that resistance level. But yeah, looks good on the long term.
Right, let's now take up a query on Shoppers Stop. Arunava Pal has written in and he wants your view on that. But looking at the charts, this stock has nearly doubled from the start of the year. But off late, it has come under a fair bit of selling pressure. Do you expect the weakness to continue going forward?
Yes, if I look at the short-term charts, it has made a peak. There is some negative divergence in the sense stock has made a new high. Oscillators have made a lower top. There seems to be some distribution happening. So yes, short-term clear pressure. This might very well get converted into medium-term pressure. Stretched, overbought, tired. That's the way I put it.
Right, onto the banking space then. Suraj Mandal has written in and he wants your view on Federal Bank.
Well, frankly speaking, one of the stronger banks around. It was one of the few bank stocks which made a fresh all-time high a few weeks back. There are no known resistance levels, but distinctly strong. And yeah, extreme near term maybe just a tad bit overbought, but looks good. Further upside seems like a cinch.
Well, the last query for the day is coming in from Saurabh Shirsagar, and he wants to know your view on Hinduja Global.
Okay, Hinduja Global, I don't track that stock very closely actually, Nandita. I'll avoid the comment.
Right. Okay, then let's take up a query on specialty chemicals basket. Vinayak Shinoy wants to know which are the stocks that are looking attractive in this basket.
Okay, specialty chemicals. I'll go in for the safest one, Nandita. If I look at Deepak Nitrite, it's underperformed over the last 1.5 years, but now it regained its mojo, so to speak. 2400 is a near term or a medium term target. About 2400, we'd go towards 2700. So Deepak Nitrite is something one can keep an eye on. And along with Deepak Nitrite, I think another stock is GNFC. That also looks interesting. Maybe a round of consolidation is left before it sort of picks up speed. But these are the two stocks one can keep an eye on. They're not exactly shorter term calls, slightly medium term calls.
This wraps up our query segment. Thanks a lot for answering those. And for our viewers, if you have any queries, do send them in to us with hashtag AskMC, and we will have them addressed by our expert. Hemant, but before I let you go, leave us with two of your stock picks for today.
Yeah, firstly, I have a buy call on granules. This is probably a 2-3 week sort of a call. A buy at 350, stop loss 335, target 380. We are in the midst of a 17 trading session consolidation phase in a medium and longer term uptrend. Longer term, I think we are 354. The stock is going to 500 over the next year or two. So it looks good, but this is more of a trading call. Secondly, there's a buy call on Tech Mahindra. The entire IT basket is oversold. Tech Mahindra is now playing catch up. So buy in Tech Mahindra at 1080, stop loss 1060, target 1120, oversold, rounding bottom above the 55-day exponential moving average. Indicators buy on the daily and weekly, all guns firing. The only fly in the ointment, if any, the results on the first. So that's something to be a bit watchful, but technically the setup is looking very positive. Nandita.
Right, Granules and Tech Mahindra are two of the picks that Hemant has for our viewers. Well, Hemant, it's a pleasure talking to you this morning, and we'll have you again on the show sometime. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Morning Trade. Stay tuned, because coming up next is the markets with Santo and CJ.